with that story. Let's come back home now, and Federal Labor is trying to rebuild after the leadership meltdown, but it's still reeling from the surprise resignation late yesterday of Senator Mark Arbib.
Senator Arbib says he partly resigned to help heal the party's wounds, but some of his senior colleagues are disputing that he needed to quit. To discuss the fallout, we're joined by Amanda Rishworth, who's the member for Kingston in South Australia, and Dr Andrew Leigh, who's the member for Fraser in the ACT. Good morning to you both. Obviously, Mark Arbib's resignation came as a shock to many of his caucus colleagues. Did he make the right decision?
Well, look, I think what Mark did was outline his reasons for actually wanting to leave Parliament, one of the big ones being his family. It sounds like this job has really taken its toll on his family, and he's made, I think, a courageous decision to say that he wants to spend more time with them, but also, obviously, he's made it clear he thinks his move will also help heal the party. So, look, I think he's made it for personal reasons, and I certainly support him, although it's disappointing that he leaves Parliament.
Andrew Leigh, was it the correct move for Mark Arbib to resign, and will it in fact help heal the party?
I think it was a pity to see him go, Karina. I've got the Australian Institute of Sport in my electorate, so I get a lot of feedback on Mark's performance as Sports Minister, and it was just uniformly positive. The sector were really pleased by his engagement, not just with international sport, but also with building community sport. So yes, he'll be sorely missed.
Andrew Leigh, does that mean that you'll be putting your hand up for the Sports Minister's position?
One of the things, Karina, that I noticed in Mark's resignation speech was his speaking about his daughters and how they reacted there when he got a promotion, and it did bring a lump to my throat when he spoke about the reaction of his young daughter crying when he said that he'd received a promotion there. It's a tough balancing act for all of us, and I think Mark's done the right thing by putting family first.
Amanda Rishworth, Mark Arbib was obviously accused of being one of the faceless men behind the overthrow of Kevin Rudd in 2010. His moving him out, does that help clear the slate for the Labor Party in its talk about unity and moving forward?
Well, look, obviously Mark's spoken about he believes his act is a sense of healing, but I think the Labor caucus is a very robust organisation. The Labor Party is a robust organisation, and I think we have these ballots and we get on with the job, and I think that that's exactly what we need to do. The Prime Minister talked about being impatient, certainly how I feel. I'm ready to get out there and continue to talk about the good stuff that we're actually doing, like the NBN rolling out in my electorate next month.
And Andrew Leigh, do you think Kevin Rudd is genuine in his commitment to stay on the backbench and not challenge the leadership?
Yes, I do, Karina. I think that Mr Rudd was a terrific foreign minister, very much an activist foreign minister in the traditions of Doc Evatt and Gareth Evans. I think he brought a lot to that role, his important role in Syria, in boosting international aid. I think now he's going to be an extremely strong campaigner around the country for the vital reforms that this government has put in place. People often forget that if the coalition had been in power, Australia would have gone into recession when the GFC hit. Hundreds of thousands of jobs lost, tens of thousands of small businesses going to the wall. So speaking about Labor achievements in the past and what we're going to do in the future will be a key role that Kevin Rudd will be playing.
Amanda Rishworth, given all the bloodletting over the last week, how does the caucus room stand united, and is everyone friends with each other now? How is that possible after the last couple of weeks?
Well, look, there's been always a lot of ballots in Labor politics and in a lot of political parties. That's part of the democratic process, to actually have a ballot and move on. And look, to be honest, I've seen...
But Amanda Rishworth, this is a rather unprecedented time, though, wouldn't you say?
Well, look, it is unprecedented, but there's ballots all the time in politics. And I have to say, talking with my colleagues, they are united in making sure that there isn't a Tony Abbott government, because everything we've worked for will be torn down by a Tony Abbott government. So certainly, in terms of Labor supporters, but also the Labor caucus, I think we're pretty focused on beating Tony Abbott at the next election. And that's what I know I'm committed to do, as with all of my colleagues.
Andrew Leigh...
Can I just say one thing on that as well? well. If history teaches us one thing about party leadership ballots, it is that they are forgotten far more quickly than we think. Gough Whitlam saw off a couple of challenges from Jim Cairns. No one was talking about that by 1972. John Howard defeated Alexander Downer in particularly controversial circumstances in the early 1990s, but no one was talking about that when he went on to win 11 and a half years of government. I expect it'll be much the same in this situation. Many harsh words have been said, but we are all now committed to getting on with the job of governing.
Paul Keating also came back, and I'm sure Kevin Rudd seems to be a bit sketchy on whether he would come back if he was asked to as leader. So these are all still possibilities, are they not?
I don't think that's going to happen. I think, you know, if you want a comparison from history, it's not Hawke Keating. It's Andrew Peacock challenging Malcolm Fraser for the Prime Ministership, and that challenge was over once it had happened, and Peacock retired gracefully to the back bench.
Now,
and I think also, just to make one comment, Kevin made it very clear that he is in Julia's corner now and he's united and wants to fight with us. So I think his statements have been pretty clear that he is supporting Julia Gillard.
And one of the key independents, Andrew Wilkie, is now questioning whether in fact he would back a no confidence motion against the government. This would obviously be a dent to Labor's push for unity and getting on with the job.
Well, look, obviously that's a matter for Andrew Wilkie, but I have to say, in terms of the legislative process so far, we've shown that we can govern, and we can govern well. We can pass difficult legislation and win over support. So, look, I think our government is very much focused on continuing to govern and working with all the independents, the crossbenchers and the Liberal Party. They can get on board as well. They could show some bipartisanship. Unfortunately, they always say no. But we will continue, I'm sure, to continue to work with all the crossbenchers to ensure that we prosecute the arguments for our legislation.
Amanda Rishworth and Andrew Leigh, thank you very much for joining us from Canberra this morning.
Thanks very much.